Good morning, everyone. This is the Uxbridge Networking Group virtual breakfast. Bring your own breakfast, BYOB. Hey, and today we have a panel discussion and see who's the moderator for today. Jennifer Colley from 105.5 Hits FM, Uxbridge radio station. Welcome, Jennifer. And we have 4 panelists today, and let Jennifer take over. Can we start now?
All right. Good morning. We seem to be off to a little bit of a later start than we thought. This event is about how the COVID-19 pandemic is affecting businesses for personal and business, and we have a wide variety of panelists from different backgrounds and different businesses to discuss how they're making their way through this. Annie, I'm going to start with you for one of the questions. How essential is it to pivot your business at this time during the pandemic?
Yes, for me, it was very important because everyone know that not everyone know, but in Uxbridge, Ontario, we have the lockdown since March of 2020. So it's been almost 6 months in. And I have been running a learning center for children for the past 10 years. And during this time, I wasn't able to have the children come into the location. So the only way to keep the business going is online, which I did since the end of March. So right after March break, I moved on just because we already have the online applications that we've been using in the classroom. So it was an easy transition for us to do that. And I have found a virtual classroom digital platform which allowed me to do group lessons easily and also giving one-on-one instruction. So we have a live teacher, and also we have the application to help us online. So that's the pivot, and it saved my business because I would have to close. For 6 months, you cannot be like not having any business at all. Even with the government grant, it was difficult. Yes. Of course. And then also with the school, that now September, the children are going back to school, and some parents choose to have it online or homeschooling. But the issue is the bubble that they created within the school. There's only the one teacher, and then with all the students in the classroom, that's one bubble. But what happened with after-school program? Children comes from different school, and the same with daycare center. That would be breaking the bubble. That's the concern that lots of parents have. So I think sometimes like the after-school program is still an afterthought until everything like settle more. But that's why it was so important for me to pivot and available have the learning program online, so I can serve basically anywhere around the world as long as there's internet access.
It sounds like you did it pretty quickly too, which is good. You're lucky that you were able to, that you had kind of this process already set up for yourself. That's great. Rosa, I'm going to ask you a question next.
Okay.
How are you nurturing your connections in business at this time?
Thank you. Well, when this happened, it was so interesting. I had been waiting to go online, but kept putting it off because, online is so different to live events. And being a networker and coach for connectivity, all my events were in person. But you know what? Adversity has a way of bringing out the best in us. And I immediately pivoted online. And as I spoke to a couple of my clients, I realized how isolating it was for them. And it broke my heart. So I realized it was not about me. It's how am I going to serve these folks? I created 2 online groups immediately, and one was called Deepening Your Connections. And right away off the bat, I got 16 people for my first group, and it kept increasing after that. I can't tell you and the other group was called Town Hall Gathering of Hearts and Minds in Business, but that came as an offshoot of the first one. So as we talked about, how do you deepen your connections online? I taught techniques of how to actually connect by phone, by LinkedIn, and whatever means you have on social media, so that you can now start using face-to-face connections and meet people without feeling that complete isolation and that separateness and that exclusivity from each other. And the feedback I got from people who were on the deep connection calls, was really amazing, because we created a really safe and trusting environment where we were able to share exactly what was going on. And because it was so resonant with everybody else, it made it feel comfortable and safe to open up our hearts and share with each other. And then that grew into the town hall gathering of hearts and minds, because I heard so many challenges. But then I started hear some breakthroughs, and we wanted to share all of it online. And people started to mastermind solutions with each other, for each other, and it really became a win-win solution for everyone.
And some people at the beginning had a really hard time, and it's good to be able to reach out to them to help them get through it, which also helps you get through it, and then people start sharing their ideas. So
exactly, Jennifer.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, swap meet. I'm going to ask you the next question. What is the biggest concern for your business throughout the pandemic?
Okay, so I would say initially the uncertainty that what's going to happen, what is next, was the biggest challenge we had. We didn't know what is next. We didn't know anything about this virus, how it's going to impact, how long it's going to impact us. So that one thing, that not knowing what's going to happen next, was the biggest concern we had initially, say in March. And of course, the financial hit, because the restaurant is nothing without people. So either you have people in, you have everything. If you don't have people in, you have nothing. So the financial hit was the major concern. And then when everything opened up, adapting to the COVID protocols, including and implementing those tons of checklists and tons of procedures, the inspection by health department, the court race, like every second day, that was very challenging too. And then for me, balancing my business and my household was,
I guess so,
a big
because
challenge
in the
too.
beginning, when
Because
everything
I was
started,
so strong that I didn't like.
yeah, and in the beginning when everything started, I mean, it happened quickly, right? Because you were doing March break and St. Patrick's Day, and then it was nothing, and then there's all these new protocols, right? I mean, government came in, and
We were in middle of organizing all these. Yeah, we were in middle of organizing these events for kids, and suddenly we don't know what to do next. And so as I was saying, the balancing between my kids and my work, because I was full hands-on, and I was very concerned that what if I go back home and give the virus to my kids? What if happened to me? What if happened to family? So balancing that mental dilemma, and that was very full of anxiety. But end of it, like remaining optimistic is the biggest challenge, because as I'm the leader at my location, so I have to have that smile on and motivate everybody else that everything's gonna be okay, everything's gonna be fine. So these are some major concerns I guess I faced during this COVID.
Okay, Holly, I'm going to ask you the next question.
Hopefully I can stay.
We'll do it quick. How did it affect your personal life while running your business?
Yeah, well, it's been actually really no change for me. I'm one of the few that have had nothing happen. I'm a writer, and an editor. So COVID didn't do anything to me. I've got some clients dropped off, but personally, like personal life, I mean, my kids are all homeschooled now. I have 4 kids under 10, so that's a pretty big woo.
That's a big undertaking.
It is. It's a lot. So, you know, my kids are 2, 5, 8, and 10. So I decided not only to pull them out of school, but pull them from the school board entirely, because virtual learning did not go well with us last year. So we're just doing our own thing. I have all their curriculum books, but I think that's the only main difference. But I'd always been interested in homeschooling anyways, because in university and my graduate degrees met so many brilliant people who were homeschooled. And they just had this incredible passion for what they were doing, because that was just been always nurtured. So it was something I'd always kind of thought about. As far as like my social life, I didn't really have one. So
not with 4 kids. Sorry, Holly.
4 kids. You know, I don't drink. I don't. I love music, but like anything past 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm like not going. So, this hasn't affected me at all.
It sounds like it's brought your family closer together.
It has. I mean, I shouldn't say it hasn't affected me at all. It's affected my mental health greatly. I have obsessive compulsive disorder. And so right now that's manifesting in strange ways. Like I had a mark on my leg, and I insisted my doctor remove it. And then my husband showed me a picture of me 15 years ago with the same mark on my leg, but I swore it was new. And it was something sinister. Yeah. And my doctor called me and said, "We just biopsied it. It's a freckle. You've had it your whole life." And I was like, "Oops." So, I mean, it is definitely personally making me really anxious. But as far as like my family and my social life, it's good. I mean, I get to be around the people I love all day. And as one of the participants here said today, Angela, you know, it takes a village to raise children. And my day are with my mom, who helps me a lot. She takes the kids 2 days a week so I can get undivided attention to my work. Yes. And yeah, it's great. That's so great. It hasn't really been that bad that way.
Wow. I wish we all could do that. I got to be honest.
I'm lucky.
Yeah,
I'm lucky.
That is great. Okay, Annie, I'll ask you the next question. What are some key lessons and learning you've experienced through this?
Yes. Through this, I learned how to really take opportunity, be optimistic. Because when COVID came, like the lockdown, it came so suddenly. We had only, a couple of days of notice that the school is not going to continue like after the March break. So the decision at that time was, what am I going to do with the learning center, right? So you have to think quick, what's the solution? Because now I was facing a problem, and how do I solve it? That's what an entrepreneur do. And so quickly, it's like seeing the opportunity is one, and taking action is 2. If we don't take action, it's just an idea of, it would be nice to have, right? So actually execute it. And once I execute it, and I use the virtual classroom for my existing students, so I planted the seed that now in September, I started to recruit new students doing the new enrollment. Instead of just even reopening, I would have tough time getting students into my classroom, right? Because after school program, I still think that it's still an afterthought for parents until the school thing like settled like with their life. So I'm happy that I made the decision, and I hope everyone in business do make that decision, because it's so critical. So it's either I throw away my 10 years of effort of building a learning center and closed it, or find a new way to deliver it. So that's my lesson, and I did, and I hope other small businesses that's going through a hard time right now, think of ways to go by and make the decision and execute it. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Rosa, I'll ask you the next question. What steps have you taken to help your colleagues and provide resources to help them move forward?
Well, thank you. That was certainly a privilege for me to work closer with my colleagues. We have some great community leaders in Toronto. And because I practice what I preach, and I have some amazing mentors and coaches and connectors in this city, I attended an event where this one community leader was doing a lot to have people grow their business through this pandemic rather than stay home and be a recluse. And with that activity, it really helped me to broaden my wings as well and help my my personal client base to refer within our group and actually to provide resources that I probably would not have done before. So it is in the networking and in really leveraging the gold in your network that you can expand your own awareness of how to help and serve others. And so now what I'm doing is I'm really connecting a lot more on LinkedIn. I'm sending them all the, even more than I did before, all the networking events that are happening internationally. And of course, Annie has been a great help with sharing resources there with me. And so it's pushed me to really work my network like I had dreamed of. And in doing so, it allows my network to dive into those spaces and to interconnect and integrate and further their reach so that they can all have a global reach and have access to global resources. It's mind-blowing what's been happening. It's actually expanded my mind so much that I never anticipated could happen in such a situation.
It's like sky's the limit.
It's like
sky's
what?
the limit.
The sky's the limit. And my clients have never been happier. And we're closer than ever before. So, I'm thankful for this opportunity to grow. I'm sad about what the downside of what's happening. But I'm thankful that some of us are really reaching out and stretching beyond our comfort zone.
That's great. Thank you. Okay, Swapneet, I'll ask you the next question. What are the biggest positives coming out of COVID-19?
Yes. There's a lot of negative and some positives too. So, I would say these COVID protocols have actually made us, better. Something which is we were not focusing on, but suddenly I think there's so much more focus on hygiene and cleanliness, which will go a long run. Because I really think we were more focused on food and how it looks and everything, but there was certainly a part missing where it goes to sanitizing everything, one time using menus and stuff. So that is something I really like about it, and I think it will go in a long run. And I think we are more connected now, I guess. We as a team as well, I would say, like at my workplace also, we're so connected. Like initially it was we of course care for each other, but now there's so much more connections. Everybody's ready to help everybody. Everybody's cared and concerned. So that is also a positive outcome. And I would say digitalization, like we are so much more like online and touchless deliveries and online payments, curbside payment. You don't have to just do everything online, and you don't have to see anybody, you don't have to touch anything, and everything is done. And I think this is something which we would have not done without these pandemics and stuff. So that is something too. And also, like, I think we have a lot of virtual trainings and meetings, and for that we had to travel and we had to that kind of commuting and stuff. But now I think we're doing so much more training, so much more conferences, everything virtual. And then you just have to get online, do your thing, and you can share notes. You can, this is that training standard is same, but it's so much more convenient now. And personally for me, I think I'm far more grateful and more kind. We have things in our life for granted, like a freedom, going out in parks, and going around and, hugging people and meeting our family and friends. But I think this has shown us how important these things are.
I know. It's great that everybody is starting to help each other and work together to get through this too. I like seeing that as well. Definitely. Thank you. Holly, I'll ask you the next question. How did you overcome the challenge through this period? The challenges, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Just let me turn my mic off. Oh, my mic. Sorry.
I can hear you.
You can. Perfect.
Yeah, we can see you.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
I turned it off because the puppy came out and it was like, he started making noise. So mute. Okay.
It's a new way of life. Animals in our kitchen.
It's a menagerie. So yeah, the challenges. I don't really know how well I'm dealing with them all the time, to be honest. I find myself getting, I'm not always as good vibed as I want to be. I'll say that, especially because of my mental condition and because my parents, who again watch my children at least 2 days a week for me to help and even contribute to some of the homeschooling to make that a little bit easier for me. I sometimes, when you're doing everything right and you're doing everything you should, but I see other people not. I'm not always as gracious as I wish I was. I do a lot to deep breaths and containing the rage and reminding myself I can only control my actions. So it's definitely been it's been very, very challenging that way. And again, like we have a lot at stake. There's not only, my mental health, but, my father has heart disease and diabetes. So if anything got to him, it would be, devastating. And I find a lot of my challenges don't really have to do so much with my business. Because again, one of my biggest clients is an online, a home gym, and they do home gym, they sell stuff, and then they have home gym workouts online, and they've always been online for the last decade. So, business was booming when COVID happened. I haven't felt anything really, maybe in the first month or two, but even then, as any freelancer will know, you kind of prepare for a degree of, feast and famine. And so I was okay with that. And then I also, my book's coming out with Guernica Editions next year. So during this time, I've been going through those edits, which has been a bit challenging because my kids, aside from school, I couldn't even put them in any summer programs I would have. And I didn't want to put them in any summer programs either. So there's definitely been like small scheduling challenges. But again, I consider myself overall really, really privileged and really lucky that, I've had my job, the career I've chosen, being a freelance writer and having a great team of freelancers that work with me when I get overstressed. We've always worked remotely. We've always worked from home. Some of them are on the other side of the country. It didn't affect me that way. So I get the fact that I am very, very lucky. So I'm going to try not to complain too much.
No, it's great. But I understand where you're coming from too. I was in the grocery store the other day and somebody walked by me without a mask on. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to react because I'm going to tell you, my first reaction was a bit, why? Why don't you have a mask? You know what I mean? I wasn't sure. I wanted to take a step back and I wanted just to leave.
Yeah, and you know what? When I was in my in university at Queen's, I spent a little bit of time in some underdeveloped regions where there were no vaccines and there was nothing like this. And when I see people in Canada, which is for most part very privileged place, walking around and just thumbing their noses at it because of my right and free will, I'm just like, no, no, we're in a society. You have a contract, the people in your society, to look after each other. So you have to. If you don't want to do that, move out to the middle of nowhere. Exactly. Do whatever you want. But if you're in a society, we have to take care of each other. So yeah, I get it. Like I said, I do a lot of those deep belly breaths and containing the rage. I had to start physiotherapy because my whole body was just so tense. I was having pains in my ribs, and I thought, it turned out I just wasn't breathing properly ever.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, I think that ends our question and answer period. Annie, would you like us to break out into groups now?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. What tables would you like me to take care of?
You can take table 1 and Holly number 2, and I would take number 3, and the other panelists can help the others at the table. And so we are now starting the small group discussion so we can have other business owners give their input about how COVID-19 has affected their business. And we will then come back on stage and we will give a report and what we hear from the small group discussion. All right. Hello, everyone. I hope you had a great discussion with our panelists, and I'm going to bring everyone back up on stage. Jennifer, why did you start first? You were at table 1, right?
Yes. I had Anne, Stephen, Rochelle, and Rosa and myself were taking this table. Everybody is just trying to stay positive, and they're all starting to do things to get ready for the second wave that we all believe is going to hit. And then we're going to kind of work from there. Anne Fraser was saying, that for the younger children, her students right now, it's better for in-person tutoring for her. So she does one-on-one with social distancing currently. So I guess that might change if everything goes under lockdown again. And Stephen Wright, as you know, won that award for the Canadian Geographic, I think you said? Yeah. So, I mean, that was good, but I mean, we're all struggling in business right now. So everybody is just trying to pivot to online. Rochelle seems to have done very well with a quick pivot to online.
And so that's your table. Like from me at my table is Angela and Susan James. And for Angela, she actually been home-based, and that's her business. So it's just very seamless for her to continue during the pandemic. But one concern in personal life is she has a 92-year-old mother that's living in a nursing home.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So, but she's just saying that actually the nursing home arranged for a weekly Zoom call for them, which actually does help because her siblings, they are all living it far away. So Zoom call actually get them to see their mom more often than before COVID. Have that option.
Yeah, we do FaceTime every Sunday.
Yes, and the only disadvantage is like right now she has to cancel all her traveling because with her business they do go attend a lot of conferences, but right now that has to scale back, right? Like no traveling on that. And Susan James, she also has the home-based business, and she also been a writer, but now is transitioning to a coaching business. So she's taking this time during the COVID to work on her coaching business. And she's actually wanted to move back from Kingston area to Mississauga and looking for accommodation in that area. If anyone know of anything available, let her know. But Susan actually really resonate with what Holly does because she's also a writer, and so she's really interested in connecting with Holly. And I said, like, wow, you both know really Kingston well because she also went to the same university as Holly. Yes, so connect with Susan James. She will be a good one.
Definitely.
Okay, so Holly, it's your turn. You look after table 2.
Yeah, I was there with Swap Meet, so I'll just speak briefly and then let her take it. We actually we were with Evelyn Swan, and we had I don't know how it had to do with COVID, but maybe not so much directly how it affected businesses on the economic level, but we did talk a lot about how we hope this experience of COVID that maybe people can understand how their businesses and their practices for businesses are affecting climate and climate change and all the unnecessary traveling we do that you don't need to do.
Yes.
For personally, professionally, like whether it be going to a training session that you don't need to go to, or flying to a Knicks game. You don't need to do that. So I'm going to let Swapni take over now and talk.
Yeah, so we had a great discussion apart from regular COVID issues. We talk about how Hole said that comparison is a thief of joy. So, during this COVID, we see social media and we see, oh, that person is doing that, and we compare, and, we should just be happy the way we are. And comparison is not always good.
No, and I mean, that's what we were talking about with all the traveling, unnecessary traveling and stuff. Are you doing it because you want to do it, or are you doing it because you think it's something you have to do? Even for Evelyn said that she is amazed from the Mad account, she's amazed at how much people spend unnecessarily on traveling places. Going to go travel to meet someone just so you can have a face-to-face meeting that you could have had over one of these applications or on the phone or anything. So, she said very beautifully, just seeing the world gain back a bit of its own right now has been very rewarding. So I just hope it's something that maybe we can take some of the positives of this and some of the things we've learned about just being less wasteful and being a little bit more reflective about our business actions as far as climate change.
Yes.
So hopefully we can, I have a bunch of young kids. I know other people here do, and we're letting them inherit a pretty sad world right now. So hopefully we can do better.
Yes.
Yeah, I resonate with that statement so much, Holly. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yes, actually, I had the opportunity last week to attend a 3-day conference in a meeting in California. I just met so many people, right? I just thought, wow, if it is in non-COVID period, I would have to spend the money in traveling, getting there and getting the hotel accommodations, and that would have cost a lot of money for just 3 days that we can in California, right? But it is very productive meeting that we had throughout those 3 days. And you know what? I just saying, gee, within second, I am coming back, from traveling from California to Uxbridge, Ontario, within seconds. I was able to start a class, within second. Okay, finish this conference, and I'm back from California and teaching a class, a lesson. So it's great. So always take the opportunities and see the positive side and take actions, right? That's my last word.
Definitely.
On this.
Yeah.
Brilliant last word, Annie.
But thank you all the panelists for coming today, and thank you, Jennifer, for moderating today's panel. And working together, we can accomplish a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, Annie.
Thank you, Annie, for organizing this. Thank you.
These are all Uxbridge Networking Group members. Together, we can accomplish a lot and win-win situation. Thank you. Thank you all.
Welcome. Our pleasure to be here.
Have a good day, everyone.